But did you put that on your resume? Like, how did this company know that you had those skills since your job title was technically something else?
Man, so it's all about how you explain stuff, man.
All right, hey.
So as I said, as I said, I was a scientist, right? I'm an automation scientist, right?
Okay,
I'm an automation scientist.
True.
I'm listing all the different automation equipment that are in the lab, showing impact as well, not just showing that, oh, did such and such on the automation. No, I'm showing impact on how we delivered, a certain amount of samples through this automation, how, my troubleshooting skills save certain time, stuff like that. So now this company is like, wow, this person is valuable. He can really grow in this role and really build into more.
Welcome to The Technical Creative, a show produced by STEMedia that centers on career development and growth in both the technical and creative spaces. Today, my guest is Rich Gilliam. If you want to hear how he moved from biology to eventually in the world of engineering, what he did to go from a 1.8 GPA to someone who is deep entrenched in research, and the value of college internships, then stay tuned on The Technical Creative. Yo, I am here with Mr. Richnovated. What up, man?
What's going on,
Richnovated. Hey, listen, I know I'm saying it slow, but break it down, man. That's a pretty dope name. Tell me where that come from, Richnovated.
Nah, for sure, man. So I'm all about, personal branding. So Richnovated really just comes from, my name, Rich.
Yep.
And the word innovated, taking that innovated off and just adding rich in front of it.
Yeah.
I'm all about, being a forward thinker, how can I, process improvement, different things like that. So just branding myself, putting a brand around myself, and then, you got Richnovated.
I'm saying you got innovation, you got your name, and then you got, rich. The other meaning of rich. You talking about getting to the bag a little bit too every now and then.
Yeah. But when we think about rich, though, it's not just about money, right?
Yep,
it's about
true.
your thinking as well, right? So I feel like everything starts with your mindset.
Okay.
So you can be rich with your mindset. You don't have to have the money yet, but you can think that it's going to be in your bank account.
Yep. That's true. And listen, man, when I think about someone who had like sort of a vision, but then like it just kind of grew and grew and grew, I think of you, right? Because you are someone who was in STEM. You're in engineering right now, currently, right? What's your current job title?
So my current job title is I'm a lab automation engineer. Yep.
A lab automation engineer. But you didn't start there. You started in biology. That's what you studied in undergrad, right?
Yeah. I started in biology.
All right, bro. So tell us how did the Richnovated brand go from biology, natural science, to like tech, automation? What's going on?
Man, it was a journey, bro. So like I said, first of all, started in undergrad, studied biology, and went to St. Augustine's University. We like to call it the AUG.
The AUG?
In Raleigh, North Carolina. Yeah, HBCU. So I studied biology. Actually, when I started to study biology before I got to college, I didn't really know what I wanted to study.
Okay.
But in high school, I did my senior project on kidney disease. My aunt passed away from kidney disease, so I was very passionate about just doing that project.
Yeah.
So when I got to school, I didn't know what I wanted to really study. I remember having a conversation with my mom. My mom was like, why don't you study biology? You seem like you really liked it, doing that project and stuff like that. So I studied biology. And funny thing is, we talking about biology. When I was in undergrad, I actually wanted to be a dentist. So I wanted to go to dental school. So
you were studying biology. You did a project on kidney disease coming out of high school, but then you were like, okay, I'm going to do something dental related. That was your original thinking was?
Yeah. So when I was in school, I was kind of preparing for dental school. And, I was taking different classes, getting prepared for that. And then my junior year, what was kind of my, my moment, I did a summer academic enrichment program at Virginia Commonwealth. And this was
college, junior year of college.
Junior year of college. It was an internship.
Okay.
So this was for students that were interested in going to dental school, medical school, physical therapy, and pharmacy school. Yeah. And kind of just doing that program, that really showed me that nah, this ain't for me.
It was boring? What was it? What were you doing?
Really,
no shade on the program, but you were you were bored or what?
Really, I guess really just, so we took classes. We had a couple classes that we had to take, graduate type level classes.
Okay.
And then we were actually shadowing the dentist. So me really being in there, it just kind of showed me that I wasn't really interested in it.
Yeah. That's interesting, right? So, because here's the thing, sometimes we go down a path, and there are those of us who will be like, all right, cool, this is not working out, let me pivot. But then the other people who will be like, and y'all can probably relate to this, I don't know if you're watching this, but there's a lot of pride wrapped up in what we told. You told your mom what you're going to be doing. You did all this. Maybe you got people back at the crib like, oh, man, my boy going to be a dentist. He going to give me all the free hookups, right? What was that like, though? Did you ever feel like you letting people down when you start at the end of your college career?
I never thought about that because it's funny you said that because I have an aunt, and I ain't going to mention her name.
Okay.
But recently, in the past year, she actually asked me, like, seeing everything I got now, she's like, you still gonna be a dentist?
You got a business, you whole new career. She's still like, yo, what's up with the cleaning?
Yeah. So, but nah, man, it's just like, but I'm somebody that just learns from all of my experiences. Like even that I didn't go to dental school, I still was able to learn from those experiences.
Right.
And actually, that summer of my junior year, that was 2014. That was a very busy summer. I actually did two internships that summer.
Yeah.
That same summer. So I did that program the program at VCU was for about 6 weeks.
Okay.
And then I left that program and went to the University of Southern California. I did a summer academic program
LA.
in environmental science. So it was dope. Like we took classes for a week. And then we did research in the Sierra Mountains. So we tested like the environment in the Sierra Mountains.
Yeah.
And then the research we found, we tested it in the lab at Catalina Island. So this was a dope experience.
Bro, you were doing a lot this summer.
Yeah, and I was able to travel too. So that's the dope thing about internships is when you're able to like learn and you're able to travel and see a different area. Mm-hmm. So, I was in Cali and I was learning, but that really showed me that, I loved research.
Okay.
Like I really liked research, right?
Yeah.
So when that kind of all came about, after my junior year, coming in my senior year, I applied to a post-bac fellowship with the NIH.
So you didn't leave biology, even though you started realizing dental wasn't your path. You stayed in biology.
Yeah.
Finished that up at St. Aug. And then you did a post-bachelor's degree program.
Yeah.
So research based.
It wasn't you could basically say I was a research scientist.
Okay.
Right. But I had to apply to the program. It was government funded.
Okay.
So yeah, I did that program and it was a dope experience. Like I did that, during neuroscience research with the government. Mm-hmm. And I had a project on really seeing the effect of fluoride that it had on long-living rats. So we basically dosed rats with their food and their water with certain levels of fluoride, and then I'll run a lot of cool behavior tests to see how their learning and their memory is affected.
That's crazy.
So imagine a room like this. I had a room and I remember one project that I had was we had a room and we literally had a pool and we had a platform within the pool, and one day you would have to have the rat kind of go to a certain area on the platform. Mm-hmm. And then the next day you might move something on the platform, just something small, but you'll kind of see like the effects of
if the rat could like notice cognitively what's going on.
Yeah.
If you move something.
So so that was a dope experience, man. I got a publication out of that.
Yeah.
Out of that work. So that was all.
How was you moving though? Because here's the thing, like you sound like you're doing all these programs, and when people listen, y'all listening, right, it could be like, oh, it just kind of seemed naturally to flow. But apparently, you graduated. We know more in hindsight than we do going forward.
Yeah.
Were you looking for jobs? Were you trying to buy time by applying to this program? Like, what was your objective at this time? What were you thinking? And then maybe even from that, what did you learn?
Yeah,
about the career navigation.
So you talking about coming from undergrad?
Yeah, from a career navigation standpoint.
Yeah. So coming from undergrad, and this is why I always say, different people that I talk to within college and the youth, that how important internships are, right?
Okay.
So when I was doing internships, that just kind of kept me afloat, kept me good. Yeah. So even my senior year, I did another internship before I even got into that post-bac fellowship. So my summer mentor that I had from my senior year, she actually plugged me in to my post-bac
program,
my PI that I worked with.
Yeah.
So I had relationships. Yeah. Right. I had relationships, and I was always one step ahead.
Right. So keep the relationships, keep moving. But I mean, what was was grad school on your agenda? Was a job after that on your agenda? Like, what were you thinking?
So yeah, it's funny you said that. So when I got to my senior year, I had I was looking at two different ways. I was trying to decide if I wanted to like actually go to a PhD program or if I wanted to like just go straight into industry.
Right.
So I had applied to different PhD programs, and then I also applied to this post-bac fellowship. So once I got into the post-bac, I had just decided to kind of go into that.
How long was that post-bac?
So the post-bac was, and that's a story, man, you know. The post-bac was actually, it was supposed to be for 2 years.
Okay.
But my PI actually lost funding, so it was only for a year and a half. So I was actually out of a job after that year and a half for like, you know, a few months.
Out of the blue, just boom. You thought you had like another 6 months or so?
Yeah, but it's crazy, man, because like, you know, sometimes, you know, when one door closes, an even better one opens.
Yeah.
So when I left there, that's what actually opened my eyes to lab automation.
Okay. Thank you. All right, listen. I knew there was a pivot somewhere. I was waiting for y'all.
Yeah.
When it comes from biology to like, you know, lab automation. He's my man. I connected with you through our engineering. So I'm an engineer.
Yeah.
We're both in the network known as the National Society of Black Engineers.
Yeah.
And I'm always like in my mind just assuming that you were an engineer through and through from the very beginning, right?
Yeah.
You are indeed.
Yeah.
But I just always thought that was always your path.
Yeah.
So you're telling me that the door closing on your post-bac program with all that great research, I'm sure it was devastating, but it opened the door for you to kind of get into this other lane known as lab automation. So talk a little bit about how you noticed it, how it was even brought to you, and then what would you say to somebody who perhaps just had a door closed on them right now? Go ahead.
Nah, for sure, man. So like I said, when I left there, you know, I was really just kind of like looking for, you know, different jobs and stuff like that. So actually, the company that I went to work at that kind of introduced me to lab automation, I remember they actually had like a job fair. Right?
Okay, job fair.
It was a bunch of different lab supervisors in the room, and it's like almost like speed dating, but for jobs, right?
Yeah.
So I'm talking to all these different lab supervisors, and I got hired by a few different labs, but the lab I happened to pick was a lab that had automation. So when I started, I actually, and this was back in 2017 when I first started and was introduced to lab automation.
So you didn't know that they had that. You were just
I didn't know about it.
You was like, yo, what's up? I'm in the STEM fields. I get a job.
I ain't know nothing about it. I kind of connect. It was a genetics lab, right?
Yeah.
So I kind of connected with it. It was interesting work.
Okay.
So I kind of connected with it from there. So, but when I first started, I was actually a technologist. I was still a technologist scientist.
Yeah.
So I was actually running like experiments on the automation.
That was what you thought you would be doing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but after, you know, maybe after about like 2 years, I had a moment where I was just like, wow, like, you know, I'm running experiments and stuff on this automation. This is cool, but like, this is 2018. I can only imagine where robotics and automation might go in the next 5 years. So I really just took that initiative. Like when the vendor might come in, he might work on the equipment.
Yeah.
I started to become that key person that like, whenever the vendor come in, I'm like, all right, you're going to work with Rich. I'm going to get you right. We're going to, fix up everything. So I'm shadowing. I'm getting this experience.
Right.
So I put that experience on my resume, you know, cater it, you know, be able to show impact that I was bringing. And then I got a full-blown opportunity, you know. With,
to make a move in a company.
Yeah, with another company. I got a full-blown opportunity as an automation engineer now. So now I made the switch because I had those skills, and they wanted somebody that can actually kind of go even more deeper into it.
Practical. But did you put that on your resume? Like, how did this company know that you had those skills since your job title was technically something else?
Man, so it's all about how you explain stuff.
All right, hey.
So as I said, I was a scientist, right? I'm an automation scientist, right?
Okay,
I'm an automation scientist.
True.
I'm listing all the different automation equipment that are in the lab, showing impact as well, not just showing that, oh, there's such and such on the automation. No, I'm showing impact on how we delivered, you know, a certain amount of samples through this automation, how, you know, my troubleshooting skills save certain time, stuff like that. So now this company is like, wow, this person is valuable. He can really grow in this role and really build into more.
Yeah. As you're going through this period, what are some of the things you learned that helped you kind of get to this new place that you really enjoy and frame that as advice? And then maybe even also, you know, what was something that was maybe a mistake that you could have made or that you did make that maybe would have improved had it, you know, the absence of it improves your chances?
Okay. Yeah. I would definitely say, advice that I have is just like really focus, look at your skills that you have. I always say look at your skills that you have and look at your skills and see what skills you have that can possibly be transferable, right?
Okay. Yep.
For example, being a critical thinker. Mm-hmm. That's an important skill, especially within the STEM field, right? That you could be able to maneuver and maybe go into another area of, hey, I might know how to get in the lab and I'm able to understand, why this specific assay or experiment is working at the way that it's working, right?
Right.
So really looking at your skills and really having that understanding of, what skills I had that might be transferable. I think I
so transferable skills, that's really big. We had Bobby the Builder on. Yeah. And he was talking about transferable skills.
Yeah, man.
For people who want to pivot into tech careers.
Yeah.
What mistake do you think people need to watch out for that people make when it comes to doing these things?
So the biggest mistake I would say, man, is just like being able to understand the impact the work that you do, right?
So not being able to understand would be is a mistake, you're saying?
I would say like a lot of people, far as one thing that I see with a lot of people, right, is they do all this amazing work, and then they're not able to really explain what they do. They just say, "Oh, I'm a scientist. I did this in the lab." But where's the impact?
Right. What's the bigger picture?
What's the biggest picture? What's the bigger picture? What's the impact that you're actually making? So a big mistake I would say is a lot of people have great experience and they can be in amazing roles or do all these amazing things, but they're selling themselves short.
That's true.
You gotta brag on yourself.
Man, hey, I'll tell you a quick story. So one of my internships was at NASA, and my second year, I interned with NASA from like junior year in high school all the way to like my master's degree, bro. And one year we were doing Excel spreadsheets, and what I was doing was basically taking numbers from an equation and then like remodeling based on so we take polynomials, took the constants out of polynomials, the numbers, and then like made other graphs and stuff out of it. What I didn't know at the time, I thought I was just putting numbers in a spreadsheet. What I didn't know at the time, though, is that I was literally doing rocket science. Like I was actually modeling combustion properties when they would mix like the liquid oxygen and the hydrogen in the actual rocket engines and kind of model how much thrust you would get from it. I had no idea, right?
Yeah.
But at the time, I was just kind of doing whatever my mentor was telling me to do. And I would just tell people, I'm doing Excel graphs and da-da-da-da-da. But bro, when I realized that I was actually doing rocket science and the bigger impact to your point, oh man, I put that all on my resume. I was like, I did a little bit of rocket science here and there, combustion properties, da-da-da-da. And to your point, I guess that's the problem people have, because if they aren't able to describe what they do in the larger context and the impact, they could be doing something that's incredibly impressive that really does connect to something, profound. But they're just not presented in that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Got that finesse.
That finesse. Hey, put a little sauce on it. But that's what you did. And here's the thing that's the most amazing, I think, just to go back to your story a little bit. You graduated high school with a 1.8.
Say it again, bro.
A 1.8 GPA.
Yeah, 1.8. Crazy. And the crazy thing is, I brought it up to a 1.8 my senior year. It was a 1.6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I can be transparent and share that now,
man.
Right?
Folks can be encouraged by that. So tell me how that happened, first of all. I mean, I know several ways it could happen. But what do you feel like was different in the 1.8 GPA high school, Rich, that eventually kind of evolved to the Rich that's sitting in front of me today?
Yeah, really just motivation and the environment that I was in, right?
Okay.
So I'm originally from North Philly.
Okay.
Didn't really have much motivation around me to do anything.
Yeah.
But really coming to North Carolina for college, like I think my mom every day, like it was just, such a great experience for me just be able to experience just being in another environment. And also still having my foundation of being from Philly to give me that hustle. Yeah. So I'm always, looking to shake and make moves.
Yeah. So you benefited from leaving your environment.
Man, benefit is not even a word. Benefit squared.
Yeah, I hear that. Hey, benefit squared. You hear that, brother? That brother got a STEM mind. And now as an automation engineer, give us a nutshell of what you're doing now, what this former, 1.8 GPA high school graduate is now doing on a daily basis? Go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I would say an automation engineer, man, is really a jack of all trades. Because, like I said, so even though I'm an engineer now, my biology foundation is so important, right? So particularly, you know, some of the things I do is, you know, I have to put together different, you know, lines of code of different methods within different robotic interfaces.
Okay.
So say I maybe, you know, go ahead and put together a method that might, you know, do some certain pipetting steps for experiment. Before I
pipetting is kind of like when you the little thing you squeeze up the liquid.
Yeah.
Right?
So imagine I say it like this. Imagine the work that a scientist is doing in the lab.
Gotcha.
We basically have robots now that can do it at a more scale form. So I'm the person that builds those methods.
That's crazy.
So I build these methods, but the thing is, it's not one thing to just build the methods and then pass it on to the scientists.
Yeah.
I actually have to test this before I actually pass it on. So like I said, that biology foundation and that understanding is still so important.
Still very relevant because you're doing this for people who are in the field that you are trained that you're traditionally trained in.
Yeah,
scientists, experimental work.
Yeah,
but then you have to understand the the engineering and technical aspects of it.
Yeah, so
that you can create it.
Yeah,
and that it can actually replicate.
Yeah,
the behaviors and the tasks that are necessary.
Yeah,
that is dope. And so, like, do y'all have like arms and little fingers and stuff that move and all this stuff?
In my current lab, I work within R&D, so I can't talk about, you know, too much about the work. But we might have to bleep out some of the stuff, y'all. We're gonna have to bleep it out. All right. But man, you know, currently where I'm at, I like to say it's like you know, just imagine I like to say it's like the Disney world of automation, right? It's an infrastructure with you know, just imagine a lot of different robots that are doing a lot of different tasks, and they're all kind of working in sequence with each other. So you might have a robot liquid handler. So a liquid handler is basically a robot that can do all those different pipetting steps.
Right.
Then you might have like different integrated devices that might be in the work cell as well, such as like a heat shaker or something like a plate washer, stuff like that. So
washer, okay.
Yeah, so maybe it might take a plate and might have to like wash certain things out of a plate before it goes into another area. So it's a lot of...
It's pretty deep, man. Hey, listen, well, that brings me to a segment we do on our podcast called Pass or Fail.
All
right? So Pass or Fail is a scenario-based question I'm going to ask you where I guess some people could probably consider it borderline, 50-50, whatever the case may be. And I want to get your take on this with Pass or Fail. So when we think about automation, we think about jobs and tasks that people used to do. Right? And you probably know where I'm going with this. Yeah. And sometimes there are a lot of debates and arguments about like, at what cost? Sure, we can do what 3 people would have did in like a fraction of the time. But is that really, really fair? So let's say a person comes in, they get all your work, everything you did, you finesse everything. You know what I mean? You get it just right. And then they come to you and be like, or somebody like you and be like, all right, you've already calibrated to the scientific standards, the technical standards that we need. Now we're just going to get somebody that, just knows how to watch machinery and make sure it doesn't break down. And we're going to get rid of all the technical minds, right? And we're just going to have y'all on call, like, 2-3 times a week. And I know that dives into sort of, the economy and a lot of things like that, but is that fair to have somebody who is not technically trained come in and basically work, not technically trained, but just like not even knowledgeable at all about what's going on, come in and just operate the automation systems that someone like you has already built and optimized?
Wow. So I guess let me ask this question to understand. So you're saying getting more so rid of like the people that built the automation or the people that's actually running the automation before, like the scientists or the operators?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the people who had the knowledge to build it. And here's another example or analogy of that. When software really picked up, a lot of things that we do in my field as a structural engineer got moved to software to the point that where, all right, if you just know what inputs to put into it, you can probably get the same outcome, right? do you think it's pass or fail for a company to begin to say, instead of me paying someone who has a degree or even has this level of experience, let me just pay somebody that knows how to hit start and knows how to call this number if it ever gets stuck?
Man, I'm trying to think if I want to say pass or fail, because it's like two different levels to it. Because there is a point where I would say, with automation, we're gonna be honest. Like automation is kind of like some of the operator rules. They're kind of losing with coming within automation.
Yeah,
but I would definitely say people like me, not to just brag on myself. Automation engineers are definitely needed when you have an infrastructure of automation built. Like, even though it's automated, you still have certain processes where you need to have like that automation engineer that had understood of kind of building that concept that is kind of all around. Yeah. So I don't know. I might have to say fail for that one.
I hear you. So fail just to think about the bottom line and be like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and pay some my minimum wage.
Yeah.
Once Rich and everybody get it all set up, let me get my minimum wage friend in here.
Yeah.
I feel you. I mean, I think, again, no shade to people who have different backgrounds. Everyone is kind of different, but I do think it's important to realize the value, the knowledge you bring to this, right? Because if you're only looking at what it produces or how it moves and the timing of everything, you lose out not just on if something breaks, right? But the opportunities to take it to the next level, to innovate, right? Because if you know at the end of the day, we just got these new pipettes and these operate like this, and what we really need in this experiment is to change the ratios from this to this, but that's not going to happen the same way if we just change the button. Maybe we should position them like they're just little things that you would see opportunity-wise based on your knowledge of what's happening here that perhaps is someone who's just like hit and run, right, wouldn't recognize. So I guess there's a hidden opportunity cost by us, by anyone who just solely looks at the bottom line. Yeah. No, I feel you.
There's actually, not to go off task, but there's actually like a national shortage right now on automation engineers. There's way more open roles than the actual talent to fill the roles right now at this point.
All right, so tell me if a person wanted to get into it then, because this is a podcast about career development in both technical and creative spaces. Like, give me about your top 3 skills specifically for your job. You already talked about transferable skills, but if someone wanted to get in that role.
Yeah. So I would definitely say, having a scientific foundation is actually pretty good. You'll be surprised. Actually, most of the people on my team have like biology backgrounds. Okay. But they wanted to make a change just like me. They was in the lab and then they seen that automation came about and then they kind of made a change. So, having a scientific foundation is definitely good. Another great skill that I would say is just, really being a problem solver.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're a problem solver, man, automation is definitely the way to go, because there's always different things that are going to keep you on your feet, right?
Like what do we have? What are our limitations? What can we do with what we have to try to get the result and the solution? That problem solving thinking. Yeah.
I mean, I give you examples. Something like, as far as like where I'm working at now, right? We have a work cell where we have a robotic arm that might be placing a plate on a certain another platform, right? Okay. Say it places the plate down and it places it incorrectly. Mm-hmm. You have to be a problem solver to understand that, like, okay, it might not just be because that placement is off. It might be from the placement before that. And then now it's like a recurring effect. Yeah. So being a problem solver and understanding and like really having to like critically think, like, okay, it might not just be this one detail. It might be something else.
I hear that. Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah. Scientific foundation, problem solver. What's number 3?
Third one, man, patience. Patience, man. And you notice I said mostly soft skills.
Yeah, but, patience.
That's patience.
So
man.
You got
it. Man, patience squared.
I hear that. So similar to how a software programmer keep getting bugs, it's the patience you're talking about when he keeps placing the plate like wrong, like over and over again after tweaking it for the
and especially time. Like say I might be in a lab and a scientist might come up to me and like, something's going on with the robot. You have to stay calm. You can't be freaking out like how they might be. Like, they're talking about their precious samples. They want to save this run. Yeah. You got to be that person that can be calm. And actually, you might, there's been times, for example, I might go to a robot or whatever, and a scientist might say, oh, there's an error, something is going on with the robot. It might not even be turned on.
Yeah. You can't just be like turn up your nose at them with like, listen.
So you gotta have that patience, man. That's important as well. And just
I love
that. I guess this is the fourth one, but just having that willingness to really learn, learn new automation, really just wanting to continue to grow. So it's because it's always going to be new things that you have to learn and new things that you might can bring to the team that you're supporting or you're building, so stuff like that.
Rich up there, man. I see you like Tony Stark up in there, man, with the arms moving and you just troubleshooting. Yeah. Nah, I dig it, man. This actually goes to the thing that's on your shirt now, man. STEMpreneur, right?
Yeah,
you, my brother, you have obviously a problem-solving mind. You believe in helping people. You have a story that inspires people, and so I know you're very active in like going out to the kids. You even like coach robotics teams here in the area. But you're an entrepreneur, man. You have a company called STEMplug.
Yeah. Sure.
STEMplug. Tell us about the STEMplug, bro. They got the hat on, everything.
Man, STEMplug, man. Like I don't know. Lately, I've been comparing my shout out to Amazon, but I've been comparing STEMplug a lot to Amazon.
Okay.
Because everything started with a book, right? As you can see, I started with Diversity in STEM. It's my children's book that I published.
Yep. This is right here, right?
A year ago. Yep.
Boom. We got it in the background too, but product placement. There we go. We don't mind. Everything that can help. All right. So this is your first thing.
Yeah. So
all right, break this down for us. What's the book about?
Yeah. So Diversity in STEM is a storyline book, man. It's about 10 different kids from diverse backgrounds, and they're led by a teacher named Miss Joy. So these kids are all from different backgrounds. They all have different personalities. But the teacher, Miss Joy, really helps inspire the children, based off of their different personality aspects. So, for example, like the character in the book, Richie, who is actually me as a child, a little plug-in. Little plug-in.
So you in the book. All right.
Got little plug-in. But, for example, like Richie might, it might take him a while to pick up on a certain concept, right?
Okay.
But that's actually enhancing his creativity. So the teacher now, Ms. Joy, is talking to the children that, there might be a personality aspect that a child might look down upon. Now she's actually enhancing it and really expanding in their creativity and their imagination.
Yeah.
Like one saying I always like to say is like, whenever I talk to a child and I give them a book and sign it, quote I always put is your imagination is the biggest nation. Because if you can imagine it can be done. So, the teacher in the book really helps them, explore their imagination, look at different areas of STEM. And then, also really, as you see all the children, they're all from different backgrounds. They all see themselves in different areas, but they're still all going to be collaborating at the end of the day. So it might be a child that might look at itself as a lab manager, or it might be a child that like, oh, I might want to go in robotics. You're still going to collaborate at the end of the day.
Collaboration, yeah.
So this is really the introduction to the series. This is just introducing the series, introducing all the different characters, and just showing everything about it.
Get a shot of that, man. You got coloring books coloring pages in the back.
Yeah,
whole nine.
That's the deluxe version.
You got the bars, man. I heard you when we believe, we achieve.
Yeah, man.
And y'all heard the bar. Y'all heard it. Imagination is the biggest nation. All right, I love it.
And do you see the know thyself? That's another big one right there.
Where you got that? Where we got?
Right there.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. A lot
of hidden gems.
A lot of hidden gems, man. Yeah. So you what do you get from this, man? Like what when you STEMplug, what does that do for your career? Because obviously you already have a lot of success, man. What does that do for you?
Just my story, man. You heard it. I had a 1.8.
That's true.
So if I could be where I'm at today, why can't anybody else?
Yeah.
Especially from the inner city, like why can't anybody else?
So that inspires you to see other people.
Yeah. It definitely inspires me, man. And it's just like all the cool things that I've seen in STEM, and we need problem solvers in the world to continue to build and do everything that we want to do in the world. So it's just just sharing everyone.
Well, listen, man, I have a bar for you real quick. I like to always say, too. I like to say there's something inspiring about inspiring. That's what I like to say, right? So, we're inspiring other people, but then that in turn sort of like symbiotically inspires us.
Yeah.
And that keeps us going, keeps me going. I know one of the things when it comes to this podcast and everything. But why don't you tell me again some of the other things, because you said this is the beginning of a series. You have a podcast as well. Yeah. That I was honored to be a guest on.
Yeah, you plugged in, man. For sure. Yeah. So like I said, STEMplug is really, there's different umbrellas, right? So you have my the different books and different content there. Then I also have the STEMplug podcast, which I actually started just in, in March, in April?
A couple of months ago.
And I was already, I already have a wide network with a lot of people that are doing some some cool things within, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Word.
And man, I'm just a student of the game, man. I love learning from other people. So I got to the point where I'm just like, man, wow, I'm already plugging in, collaborating with different people, just myself. Now, why don't I just, bring my conversations to the world?
Right.
So I just wanted to plug that in. So that's how STEM Plug podcast kind of came about.
There you
just
go.
Really, plugging it in, and also, really just collaborating with people that inspire me. And, we're just here collaborating with each other.
Right,
so,
right.
That's kind of came about. Another umbrella within STEM Plug is I do consulting and coaching.
Okay.
So, I help a lot of people that are trying to, pivot in different areas of STEM, such as I did.
Yeah.
Public speaking as well. I go to a lot of different schools and different companies and just really just share my story and just really be a vessel.
What is it, man, about STEM and entrepreneurship that seems like it's such a great pairing, man? Because, STEMpreneur, so many people that I've interviewed that I know, myself even, right?
Yeah.
It's that entrepreneurship that just seems to kind of go hand in hand with STEM. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I always like to say, man, like STEM is life.
Okay.
Everything in life is STEM. But like me, man, I'm a natural problem solver. I'm an engineer, so I like to build, and I like to build. Everything that I do, I look at it as impact. So it's like the work that I'm doing, just with my engineering role, it sounds cool.
Yeah.
Engineering scientist, it sounds cool, but I'm not really able to make that large impact that I want to from just being that engineer. Yeah. So that's really how my business and STEM Plug kind of all came about.
Expanding the impact, going beyond.
Just expanding it. And when I look at impact, I know I said exponent before, but impact, I look at it as an exponent, right?
Okay.
So I've had the opportunity over the past year to really travel all around the country doing different book events, meeting children from, all different inner cities, New York, Philly, Houston, different cities.
Wow.
And being able to talk to a child, and then they're like, oh, wow, you did this, you wrote this, and now they believe it. And now I'm inspiring them, and I'm looking at it as an impact. Now I'm able to really inspire maybe their whole generation of their family, not just them.
Yeah. Man, and then another dope thing that happened recently is that you got engaged too. So congratulations.
Nah, I appreciate it. Yeah. No, for sure, man. Shout out to my fiance Kayla.
All right,
for sure. Like, man, she, there's always something in the background that kind of keeps you going, right? That nobody sees. That someone that's holding the curtains. So yeah, my fiance is definitely, I always like to say she's my biggest asset, right? She keeps me going. She keeps me motivated. She's in STEM, but she also, has a entrepreneurship mindset as well. She has a business. She has a pet business called Ecstatic Pup. So,
man, hey, shout out to Ecstatic Pup.
Yeah, shout out to Ecstatic Pup.
Yeah,
so,
you gotta show some love, man. I had to throw the oop there, man. I saw it on social media. I was like, yo, we gotta let him give a shout out, man. So,
for sure.
Big ups, congratulations to both of y'all on that, man. Well, hey, this has been a great conversation, man. Coming towards the end, I want to ask you. This is our parting words of wisdom, sort of closing segment here, and we ask you to give advice to two different versions of yourself. One, if you went back in time and you talked to that person who just graduated with that 1.8 GPA, and you had something to say, let's say one sentence, right? You can't take forever, but you just had a little time, 10 seconds or less, to say something to that younger version. And then let's project 5-10 years in the future, right? STEM Plug is on a whole new level. Your career is in a whole new place. What would you then say to the future version of Richnovated, right? The past and then the future.
Okay. The past, I will say, and it's not even a sentence, I would just say buckle up.
Buckle up.
Buckle up. I love roller coasters too, so I say buckle up. Yeah.
Oh, that brother would have been like, what? What we doing? What we doing, boy? Yeah.
And then the future me, and this is something that I'm not going to say struggle with, but I would just say, appreciate every moment. Because me currently now, like, I have different things that I do. Sometimes I feel like I don't even appreciate the moment that something that actually happened at a given time, because I'm always looking forward to something that I'm doing next.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's something that I'm trying to train my mind on, is just more so appreciate the moment, appreciate every moment, because you can't get that time back.
You can't. So, and you want to be present. Yeah, no, that's real, right?
Yeah.
And I know the future Rich is gonna be listening to this.
Yeah.
Like, man, you know what? Let me sit my tail down and appreciate the moment real quick.
Nah, for sure.
Yeah, no, that's
I tell myself
great.
that every day.
That's great. That's great. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you coming on the Technical Creative Podcast. Yeah. This is a podcast, again, for people just like you, man, who don't just stay in one box, right? You're an author, you're a speaker, you're an entrepreneur, you're also a scientist and an engineer. So this has been great, man. Thanks so much for coming, Rich.
I appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you for having me, man. Appreciate it.